Good evening. I'm Elijah McEwen from the city of Pembroke. Normally, over the course of this pandemic, I sit here on a Friday night with a couple of guests. We share some laughs, we play some music, and we forget about the problems of the world for a couple of hours. But once, for a couple of minutes, before we do that tonight, I think it's important that we talk about those problems of the world. Because truly, it's been a tough and a stressful and a heartbreaking couple of weeks. People across the world are protesting and making their voices heard for justice and for change after the senseless murder of George Floyd. I've been doing everything I can to sit back, to listen, to read, and to educate myself on what we can do as a society to eradicate racism and to commit not just to non-racist, but to anti-racist efforts. And really, this goes beyond George Floyd, beyond Regis Korchinski-Paquette, beyond Ahmaud Arbery. Systemic racism is deeply rooted in our nation and in the world around us. But there are many ways we can all make a difference. You can make a difference by donating, if you have the means, to one of a number of different organizations across North America that we'll showcase on screen tonight and in the description throughout the episode. You can make a difference by amplifying Black and minority voices when they speak up. You can make a difference by listening to the frustration, to the pain, and to the experiences of Black people. You can make a difference by taking the time to educate yourself and by actively calling out racism and bigotry as you see it happen, as we all work towards equal rights for everyone. So with all of that in mind, we are not forgetting about the world tonight, but we are keeping the world very much in mind. But we have a great show coming up tonight. We have Canadian national champion Maddy Kelly here with us, and we've got Logan Brown here to chat about life and chat about the world and play some music here for us tonight. It's going to be a wonderful show. We hope you stick around. This is Hockey Town Hangouts, presented by our friends at HGS Canada. I hope you enjoy it. All right, we're catching up now on a Hockey Town Hangout here on a Friday night. Hanging out with Maddy Kelly. Maddy, thank you for joining us here tonight. It's been a few years. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I think I'm doing kind of as well as I could be, given that we're all living through probably one of the weirdest things we ever will. And yeah, happy to be here. How are things with you?
I'm right there with you. I mean, once in a century situation here. And I mean, doing what we can. It's difficult situations for everyone, I think, no matter where we are. And I think we are making the most out of it, doing what we can. And much like you, we're I mean, like I said, doing what we can. So where are you joining us from tonight?
I am in Hamilton.
Very nice. Steel Town proud. And how's Hamilton doing through all of this?
I think pretty well. I think pretty great. There's lots of green space here. So I lived in Toronto for 7 years, and I've only been living here now for about 5 months. So the move happened sort of like 10 weeks before everything went down, and it was kind of convenient timing because Toronto's certainly a tricky place to live right now, just because like the population density.
Yeah. And I got to say, you're lucky you moved before that and not during it. Much nicer to move before a pandemic and not during a pandemic from experience. Now, how have you been spending these past couple of months, in the midst of all of this?
Well, I actually already worked from home a lot before this began. So I mean, I went from working at home 80% of the time to working at home 100% of the time. So that wasn't a massive change. So I work, and the running's different than it was before, obviously, because I had no track access for like 3 months and I couldn't meet teammates. So I just spent a lot of time on the roads, which is different. for me, but you get used to it. Humans are very adaptable. So
I think so.
it
Yeah.
wasn't so bad after a week or two.
And for those of us who don't know, what is it that you're doing as you're working from home?
So I work for Canadian Running Magazine. So I do web content for them. And then I also am on their podcast. And when I'm not doing that, I am trying to qualify for the now 2021 Olympics in the 800 meter.
And so as we change gears, this was supposed to be an Olympics year with the Summer Games in Tokyo. And so what was going through your head as the magnitude of this pandemic began to shift across the world and we began to realize that these games weren't going to happen this summer?
Well, at first there was denial for sure of like nothing can cancel the Olympics. And then it became obvious that something could cancel the Olympics and it was in fact going to happen. But the International Olympic Committee really dragged their feet before letting athletes know that it wasn't going to happen as planned. So frankly, when they announced it, it was just relief that, we weren't going to have to be ready for the event of our lives in 6 months' time during a pandemic. So that honestly felt good. And now that we have a new date and hopefully a pending vaccine so that we can actually compete on that new date, just the timeline shifted, but other than that, not much changed.
And I mean, for you, what's that kind of setback like when you've been working towards this and you've had that date set for, the last 4 years, to have something all of a sudden come in that you never could have anticipated all of a sudden come in at the last minute, 4 months or 5 months out to throw everything off?
Well, for me, I'm in a very strong position right now to weather this storm because I, for the first time ever, got national carding this year, which means I received like a salary from the government to run. So, and on top of that, I'm also employed. So I was in a position where I can keep running and making that a priority without worrying about the finances of it. Whereas there are lots of people, especially in Canada, who can only do this for so long because they're not making any money. So because my financial situation was all right, and I'm still relatively young, it was kind of a no-brainer that I would just, at least go for another year and a half and see what happens.
That's good. And so what is that mindset like for you now as an athlete, trying to train and stay focused, stay healthy, stay active, in the midst of everything happening around us right now?
I mean, the motivation comes and goes for sure. Some days are great and it's super fun. And, I find ways to get myself out the door, and other days, the last thing I want to do is go for a run. So what I have started doing is riding a bike on the days when I really don't want to run, so that I'm still training. It's, it's an aerobic sport. It's a way for me to, get stronger without spending time on my feet, because runners get injured a lot.
Yeah.
But, and it also breaks up the monotony a bit, because there's only so much time you can spend running by yourself, even when, you love it, before you think, whoa, I need to change.
It's good to be able to find that motivation, because I have to be honest with you, I've not found that motivation myself. It's difficult.
Running's hard. People all the time, people will ask me about getting into running, and I'm like, honestly, the first few weeks suck. Like there's no other way. Like there's no way to sugarcoat it. Like if you're new to running, your first month or so of running, it's going to be terrible. So you just have to, wait till you get to the other side of that. But yeah, running's hard.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't blame people for skipping running. I love it, but I get why some people don't.
And we don't all have that, that Maddy Kelly skill and that Maddy Kelly motivation, Some of us have that Elijah McEwen skill and motivation, and
it's just a different skill set.
It really is. And it's not here. It's not here. If the Tokyo Olympics are able to happen next summer, what do you think needs to happen for you in order to take that next step and to qualify for the games?
Well, I first need to run faster than I've ever run before. Um, so that's step one. And, hopefully I've got a good coach. I'm not injured. Hopefully I've got a setup to be able to do that. And then I have to perform at the Canadian Nationals. So in 2019, I won that event, and if I can do that again and run faster, that'll get me there.
And like you said, you won those nationals. Let's take a look back now. It's a phenomenal sporting moment for the Ottawa Valley last year. You pulled off that stunning upset at the Canadian National Championships to take the 800 meters. What was that moment like for you, and what did it teach you about yourself as an athlete?
It was for sure one of the craziest moments ever. It probably was the craziest moment ever because that wasn't even on my mind winning. I really wanted to be on the podium. I thought that would be super cool. I'd never medaled before. So I was just trying to get one. I didn't really care what color. And then, yeah, no, it was totally surreal when I won. I just felt like someone was going to come up and tap me on the shoulder and say, by the way, it didn't actually happen. Give it back. It's a joke. We're sorry. But yeah, it was an amazing moment, and it was a huge moment for my confidence. And I'm really thankful it happened before COVID-19 because, like I said, that really that changed my trajectory in the sport for sure, and also gave me the ability to believe in my ability to qualify for the Olympics. So I think without that, there would have been a lot more doubt right now of like, what the heck am I doing? But because I have that, feather in my cap, it makes it validates what I'm doing for sure.
And is it truly the case that you hadn't won a race since back at Fellows?
That I hadn't won.
Yeah, I had read that in the magazine that you hadn't won a race since
I
Fellows.
I hadn't won a championship.
Hmm.
I'd won invitationals and
Sure,
things like
yeah.
that. But no, the last time I won a championship would have been, yeah, it's crazy to put it that way. Yeah, it would have been in high school. It would have been probably like EASA grade 12 was the
Mind
last time I
blowing.
won a championship. Cause like I went to school with really like,
Well, yeah,
my teammates at school were really, really good. Like,
yeah,
a woman named Gabriella, who's my age, she's one of the best in the world. She's
yeah.
Canada's fastest 1500-meter runner ever. So, I was second a lot, but that made me better.
We've got a good program in U Sports for sure.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest photos in all of sports last year. The true shock and elation on your face really, really makes that. It's fantastic, fantastic stuff. Once we are in a post-pandemic world and the running season is back to something resembling normal, what can people expect a race season to look like for you?
So usually it'll begin at the end of April in Arizona. And kind of my typical spring, I'm gone most of the time because, in Southern California and Arizona, it's warm, and here in Ontario, it isn't. So we kind of bounce between those two states for end of April through sort of middle to end of May. And we train and we race and then come home and probably fly out again to either Portland or BC for a couple races, come home, go to Tennessee, to Nashville for a couple races, come home, maybe race once or twice at home, and then go to Montreal for nationals.
Hmm. Crazy,
So it's a
crazy
lot.
time.
I fly on so many airplanes, and this normally, not now, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm usually not home for more than like 10 days at a time, kind of from
Wow.
April through August.
Huh. Well, we can't wait to see what that holds once things can get back to normal for you. Now, I've loved through this hearing what other people have been watching to get them through their time at home and their time that they've been stuck indoors. What have you been watching to get you through all of this?
I watched the Michael Jordan documentary. thought it was
They owe
great.
us so much money. We have promoted The Last Dance so much on this show. Seriously. I'm
It's good.
glad
It
though.
was
I'm
good.
glad.
It was good. I watched Tiger King, hated it. I don't know. I
Oh
know
yeah.
people. It didn't get my goat. I don't know. Wasn't my
Yeah,
thing.
that's fair. Yeah.
What else have I been watching? Oh, I love junk TV, really. But this
Yeah.
isn't a quarantine thing. This is forever. I love the Real
It's just a Maddy
Housewives.
Kelly thing.
It's
Oh
just a
yeah.
me
Good
thing.
stuff.
I love the Real Housewives. Beverly Hills is my favorite franchise.
Mhm.
It's currently on right now. Probably one of the juiciest seasons ever.
Is there a
So,
specific housewife you love?
yes, I'm a Lisa Rinna fan. I don't know if anyone else is a Lisa Rinna fan.
Oh yeah.
I think she's perfectly terrible. Um, so that's what I watch. But honestly, I feel like I watch less TV now than I did before, which is a strange turn of events. But you just spend so much time on like screens and devices.
Yeah.
And also know that like I'm never in an office setting. So everything, like all communication is done on your computer, your phone. Like you're
Yeah.
never talking to people anymore. So when the workday's over, I don't even like I've been reading more than before because sometimes I'm like, I
That's
can't
good.
look at a screen.
And what have you been reading?
Also kind of silly books.
Oh, good. Good.
Oh, I tried to read serious stuff. Like I tried to read 1984 again, and I was like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
too close to home.
Wasn't doing.
Uh,
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah. So yeah, like the most recent book I read is called Normal People. BBC just did
Oh yeah.
a mini series on it. It's really good. People should check it out.
Well, there we go. They owe us some money too.
Hmm.
Let's change gears again and have a little bit of fun because right now we all need a little bit of fun.
Hmm.
To let the people in on a little bit of a secret, we might have grown up together.
Hmm.
So with that in mind, let's look back on some stuff. Specifically, there was a time in high school in which fellows had a Backstreet Boys cover band, and we may have held auditions for the newest member. And Maddy, you were one of those who tried out. And needless to say, the whole thing was not our best idea. We scrapped the whole thing.
I think I
Levi's
was the
going to.
lone woman, if I remember correctly.
You were our
Yeah,
token woman that we put in.
yeah.
You did great. You were the best of the 8 auditions by a mile. Like you were the only
Thank
one who
you.
put any thought into the whole thing.
I don't remember what I did, but I'm glad I gave it thought at the time.
Levi will put in some footage here for us to make the whole thing worth our while.
Okay.
You
Thank you,
were
Levi.
Wait, how does it start? There's always gonna be love. Always gonna wanna make it move. It's always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I get to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side.
It's the climb.
It's the climb.
It's the Maddy Kelly.
you were very upset though that you weren't welcomed into the band. Do you still hold that grudge now? 8 years later?
No, I would have actually, if you hadn't given me that context, I would have said I was in the band.
Wow. That's
So
that's heavy.
That's some serious revisionist history. I vaguely remember the audition. I don't know. Maybe I remember Thomas telling me that I wasn't in. I'm not sure. I could
We'll
ask. We'll have to check with Thomas. Thomas and I are still friends. We chat, so I can corroborate my side of the story. But yeah, I don't. No, actually, I remember you guys at assemblies, and I was watching. So if I was watching, I obviously wasn't in the band.
I mean, yeah, you wanted to be in, but we told you couldn't be in, and then you got upset that you couldn't be in, and
That's
then
crappy. Did I use
yeah,
the lady argument? I should have.
you
I should have
probably should
said.
have. It would have
I should.
worked. I mean, it might have worked with me. It might not have worked with some of the others, but you
Yeah.
could have swayed that. Democracy.
Anyway, I obviously don't hold a grudge.
You
And
could
that's
have made a
because I
great Harry
was.
Styles in the eventual One Direction band.
Yeah.
It could have really worked out very well. But I mean, I don't hold a grudge. You don't hold a grudge. So I'm glad it all worked out well. Levi's going to put in some stuff though, and I hope it resonates with the people 8 years later as well as it resonated then, which was not well at all. So really,
Yeah,
this
I
stuff
didn't
holds
make
up.
the cut. So if you don't like the clip, you're not alone.
We've got a fun lightning round to end us off in style, Maddy. What has been your go-to pandemic snack food?
Pretzel chips.
Pick the best late 2000s forgotten hit of these options. Let It Rock by Kevin Rudolph, Shake It by Metro Station, or Like Me by Girlicious.
Oh, it's such a girlicious Kevin Rudolph toss-up. I
We're just
think
chucking Metro Station right out the window, eh?
no, that one's no good.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I think it's Let It Rock. I remember
call.
many a high school dance that played
Oh,
Let
yeah.
It Rock.
That Lil Wayne feature is strong.
Yeah.
Who plays you in the movie of your life?
Who plays me in the movie of my life? Is Rachel McAdams Canadian? Did I just make that fact up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a Canadian brunette, sure. Rachel McAdams.
Good stuff. Probably from London. I think they like to claim her if she's not from London.
Yeah.
What's your go-to binge watch show? Is it Desperate Housewives or is there something else?
Okay, no. Real Housewives.
Oh,
Everyone
okay,
always
okay.
does this. I say I watch Real Housewives and they go, Desperate Housewives. And I say, no. Completely different. Based in reality. Anyway, Real Housewives.
I don't know why I just did that. Yeah, it just, completely different.
You're not the only one to make that mistake.
Terry Hatcher is not there.
No.
If you were stuck on a boat for a week in the middle of the ocean and you cannot pick your family or your friends, who would you pick? You have to pick one person to be with you on this boat for a week in the middle of the ocean. You cannot pick your family or your friends.
So it's a famous person.
Yeah. Who would you pick to be stuck with you in the middle of the ocean?
Hmm.
Or a person in history?
Right. A person in history or a famous person. I would probably oh my gosh, this is so hard. Because I would wanna have stuff to talk to them about, and I would want them to not be annoying.
I mean, exactly.
Who's a down to earth celebrity?
Because one of your Real Housewives is going to drive you insane.
No, yeah, never them. Not them.
Yeah.
I want to watch from afar. I don't want to be a member. Maybe this is such a cliche answer, but Michelle Obama seems like she can hang. And there's a lot of stuff I would want to ask her. She seems pretty resourceful. Also, I think we're more likely to be rescued if I'm with someone of her stature.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You're thinking outside the box here.
Yeah. I think her. Just because she checks a lot of my boxes.
I like the way you thought about this. Now, if you could be a national champion at one non-athletic thing, what would that thing be?
National champion at one non-athletic thing. Oh, knife skills. Like very
Why is that?
Very chefy knife skills.
Oh, okay. So like at cooking things.
At
not
cooking
like just,
things.
Okay, good.
No,
Glad
like
for
I'm
the
not like I don't want to be real life fruit ninja. I want to I want to like chop an onion like a boss.
Good, cool. So like glad we're clarifying. And what artists make up your pump up playlist?
Kanye West, Lord. It kind of depends on like what's new, what's fun. Usually there's like a couple dad rock tunes on there because you got to remember where you came from. Honestly, some Dixie Chicks too. Really anticipating their new album, excited about it. Yeah, it's a real smorgasbord of things.
It's quite the list, and I love it. Love every second of it. We're going into my pump up playlist right now. We've got Logan Brown coming up with some tunes from his house. Check it out coming up next right here on Hockey Town Hangouts. Maddy, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure catching up. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best Please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay active. And we wish you all the best going into 2021. We hope the games move forward safely, and we're wishing you all the best moving forward as well.
Thanks for having me.
Hello, City of Pembroke. My name is Logan Brown. I'm very happy to be here tonight on Hockey Town Hangouts. I'm an American primitive fingerstyle composer, and what that means is I play a mixture of Delta blues, fingerstyle folk, a little bit of jazz, and a little bit of classical guitar, all rolled up into one little family that I'm very happy to be part of. Now, I'm going to take some questions a little bit later on, but I've got a bunch of original songs that I'm going to perform for you once I get my timer started. There we go. I've got a bunch of original songs I'm going to get performing for you tonight, starting with this first one, which is called A Boy and His Walrus. I'll probably explain a little bit about the titles later on, but anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crowd goes mild. So that was a tune called A Boy and His Walrus. I'm going to switch guitars for y'all now into this one here. Oh, uber professional. You're in the jungle, baby. I've got to wear these cans, these very stylish cans on my head because I'm going to be switching guitars quite frequently. I've got guitars in different tunings. This one is an open D with the if you want to play along, this one's an open D with the capo on the 4th fret. And we've got different, as you can see, this one is much bigger than the other one. So I've got to make sure that the audio sounded nice and pretty. See, these are the benefits and the curse of running things out of my house, because normally in a situation like this, somebody much smarter than I would be pressing the button to turn it down if it was too loud, but I have to very professionally continue to play the guitar, reach over and turn it down myself. I'm gonna try and edit that out in the audio. Anyways. So that last tune was called A Boy and His Walrus. This next one is called You're Scary to the Spider. Rock and roll. That song is called You're Scary to the Spider. Oh. So this next song, I'm going to switch back over to the teenier guitar. Also, I would like to, I guess, I mean, there's time in it and all that good stuff in the middle of the interview. I'm not going to take a sip of water, actually, because last time there was a massive craziness happening in the microphone. So... So I'd like to point out, I do teach some guitar. I want to shamelessly plug that for a little bit. I teach on a subscription-based platform, which sounds scarier than what it is. But if you want more information, you can always send me a message at loganbrownmusic.com. And the link is loganbrownmusic.com/lessons if you want to check out the guitar lessons. Teach a whole array, including the genre that I'm playing currently, and different variations of that if you want to learn a little bit of this. Or you want to learn some... a little bit harder when I'm not in standard tuning, but anyways, if you want to learn stuff like that, you want to learn a little bit of jazz, you want to learn a little bit of how to play some shred guitar. Back in the day, that was my bag. I teach all sorts of stuff. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to get into the last little tune that I got before I take a little break, and then I'll be right back after these important messages, my friends. This one is called Ibolol, which is lullaby spelled backwards, and I've got a record coming out called Canadian Primitive. Where on the recording I actually sung Brahms' Lullaby, which is not copywritten anymore because it's over 100 years old. Fun fact. I actually sung Brahms' Lullaby and then looped it backwards so you can hear all this mysterious stuff happening where I'm singing the lullaby backwards. Anyways, just some crazy stuff to send out your way. We're in standard tuning drop D to anybody that wants to play along. Relatively in tune, I think. Was I below? Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to do one more real quick one called Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotton. Elizabeth Cotton is one of the first purveyors of this sort of this chicken picking style of playing, much before chicken picking, excuse me, this Travis picking style of playing, which is an alternating thumb and a bass line. Much to what people don't know is she actually was one of the first people to start doing it way before Merle Travis when he was just a little baby, and she called it cotton picking. So this is an ode to her with a very quick little rendition of Freight Train, just because I want to get that out there, spread some love out there to Elizabeth Cotton and her state. Anyways, peace and love, guys. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Cheers.
All right, we're hanging out here on a Friday night, catching up between sets with Logan Brown. Logan, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We're happy to have you here.
Hey, brother. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Now, Logan, there's one little question that is still somehow so hard right now, and that's how are you doing right now, man?
Interesting, man. Like it's definitely been interesting. You know, I grew up in a small town, so I'm no stranger to kind of, you know, racism, I guess, is the most delicate way anybody can put it at this point. You know, I'm no stranger to kind of being looked at a little bit funny for the color of my skin. But you know, my heart definitely, it not only aches for, you know, my black brothers and sisters and siblings down in the States, but it aches as well for black people up here, because I've been seeing a whole lot of, well, I'm so happy that everything's good down there, and because Canada's not racist and Canada's not racist, and at least there's no profiling here in Canada, and it's just it's a crying shame that, you know, they've done such a poor job of covering up how racist the states are, and we've done such a good job of covering up to at least other white folks how racist Canada can be, that you know, my heart hurts a little bit for anybody that has dealt through that in this beautiful country. Don't get me wrong, this beautiful country that we have, we still got a long way to go, and the best thing that anybody can do is kind of keep their ears open and understand when people say words like white privilege, it's not a bad thing. You just got to accept that you got it and understand what that actually means. I'm not coming at you with any ill will. I got digit privilege by being a guitar player that can play with, you know, all faculties of my hand. I know people that play guitar and they have to mount their picks onto their, you know, they're missing a limb and they got to tape the pick on, but they still get after it. But I definitely have a privilege by having all of my fingers intact, and it's the exact same way. I don't wish any ill will on anybody, but it is what it is, and you know, I'm not looked at the same as you, man, and that's just how it is.
And so when we talk about that privilege, what are some ways that, you know, people like me or other people, because here in the Valley, I mean, that's the reality of it, is it's a majority white population, and there are a lot of people who maybe just want to help but don't know how. How are some ways people can utilize that privilege to, you know, help a black population?
I mean, really just looking for any situation where you can get after it in a physical sense. You know, if you see anybody that's in trouble and there happen to be a person of color, then putting your neck on the line to help them is just it's strange how much more efficient. And again, it's just the white privilege thing, but it's strange how much more efficient or how much more gumption there is when white people help out. You know, it's just the way that it is, just because in North America or in Western civilization, the society is just kind of set up to help y'all succeed, which, you know, much love and everything like that. So just looking for situations where you can help out. If you don't have any cash to donate, that's totally fine. Speak out on social media. Don't allow people to, I mean, it's a huge thing right now where people seem to be sharing a whole lot of memes on Facebook to get their point across. And, you know, feel free to call people out, even if they're friends, even if they're family. People got to know that you know, what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. And there are very few situations in life where things are no pun intended, black or white, but this is definitely one of them. There's a firm right side and a firm wrong side, and you got to pick, brother.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, there are people fighting for justice really across the world right now. And I mean, really, it seems like such a breaking point for justice in the world where people are calling for it. And how does this feel right now as a Black person living in Canada, where you see this and you want to help, you want to lend a voice, but you're here, you're not necessarily there where everything is happening at such a higher volume there than it is here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, I'm even fortunate in this sense where if I say I want to raise money for something, I can start a charity live stream, and I've got a talent, I've got a service that I can give out. There's
Yeah.
another privilege that I have because I've worked hard for this ability. I can start a charity and immediately get tons of people to help donate to George Floyd and that foundation and for Black Lives Matter here in the Toronto. Sanct of Black Lives Matter. It is rough not being able to go down there. I mean, it's rough even if I was in the States. I probably wouldn't be able to do it anyways. Just my fiance's got a compromised immune system, and both my in-laws are 60 plus, so I don't want to put them in danger. But it's anybody that feels stuck right now and is in a position where they really want to help, but just geographically you can't. That's what the power of the internet that I wish we had back, during the civil rights movement and during the, Rodney King is, it was, and Malcolm X is, we got to get out there. And we can find these situations and share these stories online and help spread the truth, because let me tell you, man, like, I'm no conspiracy theorist. Like, I definitely don't think Bill Gates was up to no good during, but it was Carol Baskin for sure. But anyways, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but mainstream media is doing a great job covering stuff up. So I think
Yeah.
spreading that truth and spreading the honesty is what is the best thing that you can do.
And what are some ways that we can help to amplify Black voices at this time? Because we want to help people to hear voices like you, and hear Black leaders at a time like this, to hear their truths and be able to just listen and be educated. And how we can help, how we can listen at a time like this.
I mean, you're doing it right now, man. I thank you for giving me this platform to talk about this. Especially as a guitar teacher, I talk a lot about the proper way to hold your hand in a G chord, and very few people get to know me on a personal level, especially if they're just a fan of the music. And uncomfortably so, that's all they really want to hear is the music or the guitar lessons. But what you're doing right now is fantastic. There are probably brothers and sisters and siblings in your community that speak out about this stuff on a constant basis and don't feel like they have a voice, actively seeking them out. I mean, in one Google search, I can find top 10 lists of the greatest Black guitar players, top 10 lists of the greatest Black female guitar players. Number one's going to be Jimi Hendrix, probably in the first situation, and I can't argue with that myself. But it takes no time at all. Again, especially because of the advancement of the internet, you can find if you want to help and you don't, maybe you necessarily can't bring yourself to, maybe you don't like GoFundMe as an organization. You think GoFundMe is crooked. That's cool. I'm sure there's tons of Black owned businesses in your community that you could, buy bread from, buy products from. Maybe there's people selling shoes. Maybe there's other Black artists. Maybe you don't like my stuff. You don't like instrumental guitar. So you want to find Black soul artists in the Ottawa Valley that you want to buy their CD or contribute to their Spotify playlist. There's tons of stuff that you can do. Again, this isn't a political situation. This is a human rights situation. And we got to be on the side of right.
Absolutely, man. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of a chance to talk about your stuff creatively, because we got into a little bit there. Now, you do have a new record that's about to come out. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I did a deep dive. We're in this situation right now where I have nothing but my guitars in my studio to kind of occupy me, and some YouTube as well. I'm not gonna lie. But I did a deep dive into a lot of guitar studies. I'm a guitar teacher as well. I teach over at loganbrownmusic.com/lessons. Wink,
Oh,
wink.
yeah, get that plug in.
So Yeah, yeah, man. So I was doing a deep dive into a lot of fingerstyle guitar techniques, and I've always been drawn to the Delta blues, but I couldn't find a way to play it that spoke to me as a modern black man or as a modern musician. I wanted just a little bit more crispiness, if you will, off the top. And then I discovered this thing called American Primitive, which is very much like fingerstyle guitar without being so over the top technical that it sounds like it's a chemistry project and one beat ahead or one beat behind and the whole thing falls apart. But it wasn't so rudimentary that it was like 100-year-old songs being played over and over and over again, drilled into your brain. You know what I mean? These were great composers that were putting together this style of music. So I said, I want to write this stuff. I feel like I've been writing this stuff already. I'm just going to refine it. And so I put out this record, Canadian Primitive, or I am putting out this record on September 18th, Canadian Primitive. And it's just a collection of that. I mean, I've already got material for the second record piled on. I'm just going over and rehearsing, and so that's what all this music that I've been playing is off that record, and I couldn't be more proud of it, man. I feel like this is my phoenix rising from the ashes moment.
That sounds great, man. I can't wait for it. Where are people going to be able to check that out once it is out?
So once it's out, it'll be on all streaming platforms. You'll be able to listen to it to your heart's content, Spotify, iTunes, yada, yada, yada. I'm also going to be releasing it on my website if you want to purchase it, because I've written poetry to accompany basically the idea behind what I wrote these songs for. I've written poetry to accompany each of the songs. And if you want to get the CD, or as close to the CD feel as you can without buying a plastic coaster that's probably going to end up in a landfill somewhere, you can just head to my website and I'll be able to make that available for purchase as well. So I want to get the best of both worlds. I want to hack the Spotify algorithm, but I also want old school people to be able to listen to it old school ways and go, damn, that's cool art.
That's awesome, man. And how has the process been for you creatively over the last couple of months? Do you think it's helped you in the past couple of months, having just some time alone with your guitars?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And as well, being out of work in the bar scene, I'm able to kind of take that time off and revisit the guitar. So if I always have my students, I have my obligations that I make sure I get done every week. But, say I've burnt out and I've gassed myself a little bit on one technique or one way of playing. I mean, when I finish the record, I'm like, okay, that's a lot of guitar. I think I'm going to take a week off. And I was able to take a week off without being stressed about, oh God, I'm gonna play that show and it's gonna sound bad. I was able to come back to it and go, oh man, at least I can build up my chops again so that I'm not butchering my first gig back, which was this, by the way. So thanks for letting me do that.
We're happy to provide that platform for you. And
Thanks,
has it been easy to find the motivation to pick up the guitar while you've been home, or has it been tough on some days?
Oh, it's definitely tough some days, man. We're very fortunate. We live in a tiny home on my mother-in-law and my father-in-law's property out in rural Ontario, and we've got we've got 5 pigs living on the property, a bunch of dogs. So there's a lot of animals, and sometimes I am beat at the end of the day, and I'm like, you know what? I've just spent about 40 hours this week picking up animal crap. I don't know if I really want to touch the guitar at this point, but the muse always calls me, man. I make sure to play at least once a day. So
that's good.
Even if it's just for myself.
What have you been watching over the past couple of months? I always love asking people this. What's been on the TV for you?
Oh my God, 90 Day Fiance. I can't get enough of that show, man. Oh, dude. And I say this with all the love in my heart, all the love that I can muster up. White people are crazy on that show, man. Y'all are crazy on that show. It is beautiful. You got brilliant. The producers of that show, don't get me wrong, they are definitely there is some advantage of some, we'll say, colorful characters being taken of in that show, but my lord, it is good. It is bad TV and it is good TV. If you want something to just bust out some popcorn and you want to do harm to your body and harm to your mind, just bust out some popcorn and watch 90 Day Fiance.
And what's been your go-to binge watch snack food? Has it been popcorn, or has there been some other stuff mixed in there too?
Recently, like the last couple of days, it's been ice cream. I got to make sure that I try to be a good boy. 90 Day Fiance comes on Sunday, so I'm all right. But I fast Monday through to Saturday, and then that last day, I'm like, all right. I know. At least 10 o'clock is when I'll give myself the shut off. But until then, it's all systems are go.
What are you looking forward to most about normal life in a post-pandemic world?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. I mean, the guy who's been waiting, my inner demon right now that's been waiting like 2 weeks for a shipment from Long and McQuaid is gonna say wanting to go back to music stores and just buying the this pack of strings instead of having to order it online. But
Yeah.
you know, I miss playing a little bit to a live audience, and I miss a lot of the people, like more so than even just because I can still kind of do it again with situations like this. But I mean, you guys have the Pub House by Milano, and that's one of my favorite places to play.
Yeah.
I mean, Maddy's been so good to me. So shout out to the Pub House. But I mean, just even aside from playing there, just going there and checking up on everybody and having a nice craft beer that off of a tap as opposed to like dirty out of a bottle. You know, like man, these are the things that I didn't realize I was going to miss. These things I thought it was going to be the crowds 100%, but now it's like it's almost like the civilian aspect of my job I miss more, you know.
The little things. Really is the little things.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Absolutely. Well, Logan, we really appreciate you being here with us, and we appreciate your perspective, man. It's been a pleasure. We love the first set. We can't wait to see set number 2 as well. Thank you so much for being here. Stay well, stay healthy, and we look forward to when we can see you in person next. Check out the album in September when it drops on all streaming services and on the website. Plug that website one more time for us, Logan.
That's loganbrownmusic.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Logan, for being here. And once again, stay well, stay healthy. Enjoy set number 2 from Logan Brown coming up right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to me hanging out with the Hockey Town Hangouts. City of Pembroke, I am very happy once again to be here. I've got some more tunes for you. I'm going to bust out, I told you I was going to bust out some more guitars, so this is my open C guitar. This guitar is, of course, tuned to open C with a low C in the bass. And then again, for the guitar players out there that are watching that means you got a 4th. It means you got a 4 in there, so you can do this little thing. You make a whole beautiful chord progression without even changing the shapes that are happening down here on the fretboard, which you'll see me take advantage of in this song, which is a tune that I wrote while I was having a conversation with my friend Christian Paul. The song is called I Had a Chat with Christian Paul. It's a very butchered slide guitar solo. It's supposed to sound lazy, so I used instead of using a slide, I ended up using one of these little tincture bottles here. And I ended up utilizing that. The glass sounds really nice, but it's hard to maneuver, so I end up getting all these crazy overtones. Anyways, peeking at the writing process aside, let's get right down to it. Like to hear it go. This song's called... Good thing I'm not singing. This song is called I Had a Chat with Christian Paul. Thank you very much for indulging me with that tune. I like that song a lot. It's very trippy. At the end of that little riff that I play at the end, I have it playing forward and in reverse at the same time, so we get this real weird, tripping hillbilly sort of sound with that repeating pattern. Almost went for the water again. Learn from the first time not to do that. Not to do that. People don't like the sound of eating or drinking directly into a microphone. This song is another one in open D tuning again for those that want to play along. We had this hamster, this pet hamster, and his name was Snorlax, which is this thing that you name a hamster, of course. The dichotomy is hilarious, and the juxtaposition, excuse me, is hilarious. Anyways, we had this hamster named Snorlax, wonderful little creature, but much like hamsters do, they only live to be about 2 or 3 years old. If you're giving them like super vitamins, and this hamster passed away, and I was in the process of putting together riffs and ideas for this record, and of course my girlfriend came in and let me know that Snorlax had passed away and we got to bury him and everything like that. And she was visibly upset because she really loved this hamster. And I'm old school when it comes to hamsters, and I'm like, he was really cute, but he was a hamster. And then I got to thinking, like, the idea behind the hamster and the metaphor for, people view these things as like, it's the first pet. This is the pet that you give somebody to test out, to give to a kid to test out if they can take care of another animal. And then I got to thinking, this creature was so loved by Taylor's my girlfriend's name, by Taylor. And she gave it such a wonderful life, and she's 21 now. She's 20 at the time, and it's like, this thing deserves love and appreciation, and hamsters have their idiosyncrasies, and people don't appreciate as much because everybody views them as just the intro, the starter animal before you get a dog, the cool animal, right? So I wrote this song with that in mind and tried to capture the beauty and the idiosyncrasies that come with hamster life. Everything from the annoying pitter-patter you hear at night because they're nocturnal and God forbid you should put them too close to your sleeping area, to the cute little, like, how they're like this big, you hold them in your hand and they're soft and they have no skeletal structure, very little skeletal structure, no actual spine, so they're all malleable and trying to... Anyways, the hamster anatomy aside, this song is called Why Don't Hamsters Live Longer, so... you very much. That song was called Why Don't Hamsters Live Longer. I really like that song. I like playing that song. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty easy to grasp. In fact, I keep making the joke if you want to play along. This is the tuning that we're in, but that one is pretty... By the end, you'll definitely be able to pick up. If you are a guitar player and you happen to have a guitar hanging around that's tuned in open D. I took as you could see, I have that little slide thing happening near it, so I made sure to take my ring off so I don't put my hand through the guitar or have any unnecessary dents on the side. It's always cool to have a little bit of scratchy on your guitars. Road rash, you can tell them you fought off a mountain lion or something like that, but you want to avoid it still if you can. Again, belt buckle rash because you were rocking out on stage. Or, you know, you got some rash here on the guitar because you do the windmill a lot when you're playing. And you scrape the guitar as you're coming down. That's cool. But, you know, I do some slapping and I don't take my jewelry off when I do it. Pure neglect. That's not as cool, so. Alright, this is the last song I'm going to play for y'all. This is a tune, it's a little bit, I gotta breathe, gotta find my inner chi when I'm playing this one, because this one's a little bit tricky. There's a lot of moving parts to this one, but I do love it. It's got one of my favorite bridge sections in the entirety of the song, and it's one of the first ones that I wrote that moves in movements and a little bit less like a traditional pop verse chorus, bridge, outro, end type of thing. There's seems to be more. Just more stuff happening in this one. So this one I wrote with there was a YouTube video called A Traditional Life of a Japanese Salaryman or something like that. Day in the Life of a Traditional Japanese Salaryman. And it goes about through this character's day, this guy's day. And just like how, you know, the average day in a completely different culture is. And it was really cool to watch, and it sparked the idea of putting together this sort of song that in my mind captures the hustle and bustle of living in a giant city, especially a giant city with an enormous population on a relatively small island, but everything that has a system built into it, you know, or not built into it, but there's a really well-ironed system. So this song is called A Day in the Life of a Japanese Salaryman. And again, it's in open D with an E in the bass, so it's open E. It's open D with an E in the bass and capo too. I don't know how else to explain it. 1, 2, 3. thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. I feel like I'm performing a little bit again, much like a lot of other people in the musical situation. We all kind of lost our jobs. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And again, if you do feel so inclined and you want to check out some more stuff, you can find me on Instagram at Logan Brown Sound, which is the same handle that I use for everything with regards to social media. I should warn you guys, if you do follow me on Instagram, I'm half Nigerian, so to put that into perspective, I am posting quite a few things that are a little bit more topical than they normally would be. I'm just going to leave it at that. Normally there's a lot of guitar stuff there, and there still is. If you want to check the main feed, a lot of it is just regular old guitar licks. But again, being half black, my social media is riddled with the current situation. So if you would like to take lessons from me, however, you can just straight up go to my website, loganbrownmusic.com/lessons. And if you want a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what the subscription-based platform is and how you can kind of sign up to it and what the sign-up entails, then just feel free to shoot me a message. I'm very easy to get a hold of, especially in these times. So, feel free to, if you have any questions, let me know. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I do appreciate you. It's nice to feel like a rock star again. Peace and love, everybody out there. I love y'all. Cheers.
That is it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Thank you for watching this one. Thank you to Barb and the whole team at HGS for continuing to make this show a reality week after week after week. Thank you to Trevor Riley and the whole team at Your TV Ottawa Valley for continuing to give us a platform on local TV to put this show out. Thank you to Levi Post for continuing to get all the jumbled thoughts out here, making them make sense, and directing and editing the show. Thank you to Maddy Kelly for hanging out with us, and to Logan Brown playing some tunes and opening up to us with his thoughts, his experiences, his stories. We value that so much. So thank you to him and to Maddy for coming out tonight. Keep up with us on our website and our social media as we put out all the latest updates throughout this pandemic so we can make it through this together. All of that up above me here. To our Black brothers and our sisters in our community here in the Ottawa Valley and beyond, we aren't here to pretend we know or fully understand your struggle, but we see you, we hear you, and we are here with you as we all move together towards justice. That is it for this week. Thank you for sticking with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We will see you next time. Until then, stay safe, take care of each other, be good to this community. Black Lives Matter. Good night.